Hay dos disciplinas relacionadas con la economía.
Two economics-related disciplines are particularly harmful. One is statistics, and the other is mathematics. Let's talk about statistics and mathematics. To begin with, the term statistics derives etymologically from where? From state.
¿Por qué la disciplina de la estadística tiene un nombre que procede de Estado?
Why does the discipline of statistics have a name that derives from state? Do you know why Jesus Christ was born in Bethlehem? Why was it? Because a Roman emperor named Caesar Augustus decided to conduct a statistical census. In short, to register the empire's subjects for tax purposes. Each person included in the census would pay a certain amount of taxes, and the emperor wanted to know how much he could squeeze out of people. Think about that. That's where the first statistics came from.
Siempre sospechen de la estadística.
Always be suspicious of statistics. According to Lenin, those who wish to regulate society from above with coercive commands, socialists, should organize the economy like the postal system. He also said that in a socialist economy, in the communist ideal, the most important agency would be the National Institute of Statistics. Well, that should frighten us. A libertarian should strive to put an end to statistical services. Statistics are just fine if companies use them, but if they fall into the hands of the state, they won't be put to good use. Remember the birth of Jesus Christ. Such a search for information does not bode well. The authorities want it so they can try to direct our lives and tax us more, etc. This has been an aside to our main discussion. I just want you to see that the name of the discipline sprang from coercive state intervention. At best, statistics can be considered a somewhat valuable auxiliary method of historical research. It's a method for practicing history and applied economics. In fact, many historians use statistics of varying quantities and complexity concerning phenomena they analyze, price statistics, etc. But you must remember that the discipline of statistics in no way enables us to obtain theoretical knowledge, and therefore it is not useful in theoretical economics. Why? The first reason is that statistics only permits us to gather information from the past. No one has ever prepared statistics on information from the future. Such figures always concern what happened in the distant past, the fairly distant past, the recent past, or the immediate past.
Dense cuenta que muchas veces los telediarios.
Notice that many times news programs on TV are fueled by news items that center around statistics. When there's no news to report and there's half an hour to fill, what do? Well, a statistical study. You probably haven't been on television with a news anchor before. Remember TV programs with Jesus Alvarez, with Matthias Prats? At times the situation is desperate. They have to talk for half an hour and there's no news. Haven't you ever noticed that no matter how much news there is, a news program always lasts half an hour? How is that possible if news is unpredictable? Well, if there's no news, they invent some. How is news invented? Well, it's very simple. I need a statistical study, a survey. They pay for it, and immediately they have some news. 65% of Spanish people make love twice a week. And then, with the comments on that, they ask people on the street, what's your opinion? And people think, I'm going to be on TV. That news is all made up. And besides, does it prove any information? Well, there would be lots of theories, wouldn't there? Theories about whether people had told the truth or not, how the questions had been phrased, what the margin of error was. Let's assume the survey was done well, that there was no bias, etc. In any case, we should be aware that the value of such information is purely archaeological. It has to do with the past. Its having been true yesterday tells us nothing about what will happen today, much less tomorrow. In fact, the study itself influences people's behavior, because lots of people say, damn, 65% of people are doing it twice a week. And when I think back, it's been a month since I've done anything, and then everyone climbs into bed, which means the study alters everyone's behavior. Am I right or not? Notice how the statistic and the survey themselves influence future behavior and make it quite different from past behavior. What can we conclude? At best, and assuming they are done well, statistical studies only tell us about past phenomena that will not necessarily recur in the future. The second reason the discipline of statistics is not useful in theoretical economics is that it only provides us with information about isolated elements of the formal structures of market processes. But it doesn't provide us with information about the economic laws which govern those processes. There are many statistically measurable concepts that have no economic meaning, and vice versa. The concepts which truly have economic meaning cannot be statistically measured.
Por ejemplo, Producto Interior Bruto, que usted lo mide. ¿Tiene algún sentido el Producto Interior Bruto? Lo veremos en un momento. No tiene ningún sentido.
For example, the gross domestic product you measure. Does the gross domestic product have any meaning? We'll discuss this when the time comes. It's meaningless. It's not an objective measure. It's supposed to reflect the value at market prices of the goods and services produced in a country. But what if certain goods and services conflict with others? When statistics were compiled during the era of real socialism, the former Soviet Union appeared as the world's largest producer of iron, of steel, of cement, of potatoes, of tractors. The thing is, if we measure in physical terms the tons produced, it was the world's largest producer. What might we conclude? That it was a very rich country, but it was a poor third world country. It was the world's largest producer of tractors, but the tractors lay rusting on vast plots of land somewhere. It was the world's largest producer of potatoes, but the potatoes were never harvested. They never reached the markets and instead lay rotting in the Ukraine. The cement was used to build factories nobody wanted. Then, when the statistics were added up, the former Soviet Union appeared to be the world's leading country, the richest country in the world, but it was a third world country. Statistics do not reflect the qualitative, subtle factors of entrepreneurial creativity and coordination, and these make the difference between a prosperous country and a poor country. That's why the Berlin Wall crumbled. Real socialism collapsed. And in spite of the differences, the same is true of the statistics applied today in market economies in every area in which the state intervenes. So these apparently objective measures, GDP, national income, etc., are largely meaningless, theoretically speaking. They make no theoretical sense. Though we can measure such quantities, they provide us with no theoretical knowledge. But people say, hey look, the GDP rose by 2%. That's great, we're richer, we're very happy. Zapatero is surely a good manager. Or, the GDP fell by over 1%. Oh no, what a disaster. Things are not going at all well, etc. A little over 1%. But what does that mean? Statistics only reflect past events. They provide us with no information about the workings of the processes of social cooperation, which lie at the heart of science, of economic theory.